from the start, this was actually kind of a funny chapter in the sense where, while reading through it, I thought I was going to have to address a pretty major problem that I had, which is, while I don't mind the heroes and students having a plan, it also felt like things were running a little too smoothly, and especially when going up against someone like Shigaraki, it just felt like everything that was being thrown at him was just like, is he really this power? So, are they really overpowering him, kind of thing? Now, thankfully, Horikoshi did pull a bit of an Uno reverse card with Shigaraki showing us his new power at the end of the chapter. Again, this, like, just kind of at least showing that, yeah, he's kind of just playing possum the entire time. And again, this is what I thought what I was going to have to say. But granted, there is still a little bit of that just from how he was getting pushed around. Seeing him turn the tables in the final page almost does make up for it, in the sense of like showing he was almost letting himself get trapped. And yeah, but so in that sense, it was kind of one of those things where the end of the chapter kind of almost made up for what I thought was going on in throughout the entire chapter itself. Now, one thing I also liked is how Horikoshi. One thing I also did like to kind of reinforce this too is that Horikoshi did make it a point of building up to that in the beginning, when we see Shigaraki kind of making note of his surroundings and almost like using and almost kind of just theorizing of how he can use the environment to his advantage and planning ahead. Like little things like that also do make it like make the chapter a little bit better in context. With that being the case, I do like how Izuku also openly admits that a lot of what's happening in this chapter in regards to the plan was really just a backup plan in a worst case scenario where Izuku is unable to fight Shigaraki. So really, all they're doing is buying time for Izuku to get back to fight Shigaraki again. And again, judging by that ending, they're already running out of time. But yeah, let's talk about that death scene, and I'm gonna need people's help on this one because the manga didn't entirely make it clear. Is it just Mirko who basically got hit major, or did Bakugo get caught up in it as well? Because it get caught up in the attack as well, in Shigaraki's attack as well. Because this one once again feels like a chapter that, while still pretty good, also I can't help get that vibe that there's a couple narrative gaps that are needed to properly transition from scene A to scene B, and that especially felt to be the case in those last 2 pages of the chapter, because we see both Bakugo and Mirko charging at Shigaraki, but it doesn't make clear if they both got caught up in Shigaraki's attack or just one of them did, which again leaves me in that awkward position of having to wait until next week to confirm exactly what happened, because honestly I've read this chapter multiple times, and even now I just can't know for sure if it was just Mirko or if it was Mirko and Bakugo that got caught up in that attack. I'm going by narrative default that it was just Mirko, because with Shigaraki I don't think Horikoshi would actually kill Bakugo. I think he still has plans for him in the final fight of teaming up with Izuku to fight Shigaraki. So I don't think it is him. But it is still one of those. It is still. But it is like. But even then, it's still one of those things that really, like, it's one of those things that really make or break the pace of the manga, that either Horikoshi is forgetting about or intentionally doing. And honestly, I'm not sure which one, because again, there are just so many little narrative like gaps in this chapter that make me say that he needed to take his time a little more and fill those gaps. And it's also one of those things that just makes me kind of believe more and more that it's to me, like, it's little things like that it's becoming more and more apparent to me that Horikoshi that the deadline Horikoshi set for himself with this year, with 2022 being the year he ends the series, is really affecting the flow and production of the manga more than he realizes. Like, I genuinely believe Horikoshi is kind of screwing himself and the pace of the series over. But again, whether it's he himself is aware of this is the question at hand, because I don't think he's doing this. I don't think a lot of these like narrative stumbling blocks he's making are intentional. I think it's really just that the whole pressure that he just kind of put pressure on himself in order to end the series, and that pressure is getting just affecting him more than if he didn't put that whole expectation of ending the series this year on himself. Like, I think he just needed to kind of like go at his own pace, just not set a date for himself. Honestly, I think is what he needed to do. With that said, one thing I really liked seeing in this chapter is the step-by-step process by which the trap was constructed, and especially the part Yaoyorozu and Mei played in helping to build it. But honestly, like just seeing the trap built is cool in itself. But this is also one of those moments where I don't like it because of the fact that they're building something to stop Shigaraki. But by using Yaoyorozu and Mei as like the two focal points in the trap's construction, it really has this effect of showing that if this is the kind of insane innovation that the heroes and hero students are capable of to stop a villain, then imagine what would happen if they applied that same kind of dedication and innovation towards rebuilding society after the fact. This is the kind of stuff that really gets me excited from the possibilities of how society can be improved from how it existed before and how it can be rebuilt now. Like that's the one thing that's apparent to me is that society does not have to go back to the way it was before. Like with the kind of stuff we're seeing from the students, from the heroes, and what they're doing to try and help in order to stop the villains. It makes me say that this same kind of stuff can be applied to in order to help society progress, to advance. And I think society does have a bright future, honestly, knowing stuff, just seeing it from the perspective of stuff like that. But yeah, all that aside, though, there's really not all that much more worth talking about with this chapter, as it was going through the motions of like springing the trap on Shigaraki and going and explaining how it was built, all that stuff. Like, there's not much more to say beyond that point. It's a pretty straightforward chapter. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.